I've been training for 8 years now, and I'd like to do jiu-jitsu and wrestling too, but part of the thing you need to learn to do is, like, you can't just keep the same training regimen in the gym when you're doing jiu-jitsu. Just doing a shit ton of volume in the gym, I'd be so sore and, like, barely be able to move when I'm, like, coming to do jiu-jitsu to have progressive training, you know? But what I try to do now, because I'm starting to do jiu-jitsu again, is I try to come in to the gym and do less volume in general. So I'm doing like a 2x6 to 8 maybe, you know, like lower volume and just heavy weight. I do my compounds. That's the priority for me while I'm doing jiu-jitsu and while I'm doing like grappling or whatever I'm doing, you know? If you're grappling and trying to lift, just prioritize compound movements. Come in, do your compound movements, progressively overload on them slowly. You know, sometimes if you're grappling or your combat sport training is higher, you're probably not going to increase weight, you know, if you're doing a ton, unless you're eating in a surplus and trying to grow. Depends what you're trying to do, but yeah, for me, prioritizing compound movements has made it, like, it's how I've maintained all my muscle mass while I've been grappling for like the last 2 years. Just coming in and I do my compounds, and then I'll do some accessories, but it's not my priority. Like, I used to do a lot more junk volume and stuff, you know? But now you got to kind of systematize your training so you're coming in and you're not wasting energy. You don't want to be excessively sore. You just want to get stronger, build more muscle, but that doesn't mean just obliterating yourself every workout. Like, I can't really get away with that anymore, you know? I'm trying to recover for this. I've been running a lot more. I'm trying to recover for running. So it's just important to come in, do those compounds. Strength. If you keep your strength, you're going to keep most of your muscles, what I've found. And I don't know if the science backs that or whatever, but it's held true for me. I come in and I try to move some heavy weight, and it works. And you know, you're going to have phases where you can't do certain exercises, so do what you can, you know? Like, I got a question earlier this morning. Oh, whenever I do heavy squats, my lower back hurts. Like, what should I do to help that? And I was like, for me, the biggest thing, because I don't have lower back soreness when I squat, I don't have it when I deadlift. My lower back doesn't really get sore anymore. I'd say slowly progressive overload. Make sure you have a good warm-up, and make sure your form's on point. But if you do those three and you have a strong core, like, you know, people don't train core. If your abs are strong, it's going to be so much easier to stabilize yourself during compound movements. And, like, when you're squatting, when you're deadlifting, keeping yourself upright, keeping your form good, you know? Like, you're jumping into water, not diving. You know, not like you're doing a low bar squat. I do high bar squats. It doesn't really strain my lower back much. When I used to do low bar squats, it strained my lower back so much. So I try not to even do low bars anymore. I mean, if you want to strengthen your posterior chain, you can do deadlifts. There's all sorts. RDLs. I love doing RDLs. There's all sorts of movements you can do to strengthen the posterior chain without having to do low bar squats. But yeah, that'll prevent a lot of your back pain. High bar, good form, good warm up, progressive overload slowly. Give your body time to adjust.